Yo, what's up, guys? It's King Sean here, and I am here to break down last night's very disappointing loss. Couldn't make a video last night because it was very late. Didn't really think anybody was really gonna view it, although the game had just ended. Decided to just record it the following day, and we have a lot to talk about, obviously. And we're gonna jump right into it. Right? Let's start with the bad. Actually, let's start with a little recap of the game. Y'all, like in the beginning of the game, we first of all, our defense, they did a really good job of limiting the Eagles offense. They did their part, right? Our offense didn't. And we'll get to that, but it was about 7-0 for a good chunk of the game. Jake Elliott was awful yesterday. He missed a 40 some yarder on the Eagles opening possession, and then later missed a field goal, another field goal, and then later on missed an extra point. He was giving us ample opportunities to close this game away, man. Jake Elliott, he really wanted us to win. I feel like he had us on his money line. Like, I feel like he had us on his parlay because he was missing bad yesterday, right? And he was giving us chances. And our defense did a really good job of putting the Eagles in third and long situations. Like on their first drive, the Eagles had a really bad penalty that set them back. It was third and long, and our defense got off the field. And Jake Elliott obviously missed a kick. Later on, they did the same thing. Frankie Louvu, absolute beast, man. Louvu was a demon yesterday. He was awesome, man. I love Frankie Louvu. He might be all pro this year. Like, real talk, at least Pro Bowler, but man, he has been phenomenal this year. 7 sacks on the year. He added two more yesterday. That second one was awesome, man. The Eagles tried to run like a reverse play or a trick play, and it just didn't work. Got blown up easily. Louvu was right there to hit Jalen Hurts, and Hurts took a big hit on his head going towards the ground. And I'm not sure how he didn't suffer a concussion there, but he returned later on. And then later on in the red zone, he took another big hit to the ground on his head. He was evaluated for a concussion, but ultimately didn't suffer a concussion. I don't know how, but is what it is there. Overall, though, our defense did their job, and we're going to talk about them more when we get into this video, right? Our offense was putrid yesterday. All right, it was pretty putrid. It was really bad. Like, that was undoubtedly the worst offensive performance of the year, right? And there's a lot of different reasons why we had that performance. And we're gonna get to those reasons, but I would like to first start with Jayden. Now, I think we can all agree that Jayden played his worst football of the season yesterday. And I don't think we're going to see another performance like that for the rest of the season. All right. That wasn't Jayden last night. And I feel like the injury had something to do with that. Now, obviously, the injury didn't affect everything. Like, Jayden was bad last night. He was really bad. He looked like he was rushing his progressions a whole lot last night. He had some misses. And part of those misses, I feel like, were because of his injury, like the ribs injury. He couldn't fully torque his body sometimes, or at times, really all night, really. Like that miss to Noah Brown, and all of his misses weren't like overthrows or anything like that, but they were literally like grounded. Like the throw to Noah Brown, it landed at his feet. We do not see Jayden, throwing passes like that. That's usually a completed pass. Like any week of the season, I mean, any Sunday, I mean, we do not be seeing Jayden throw passes like that. So it was just really weird to see him play like that last night. But I feel like a good part of that is because of his ribs injury. Look, short week. Jayden got hit a lot last night and versus the Steelers, but going into the game, he got hit a lot versus the Steelers by TJ Watt. Well, TJ Watt didn't do anything to him really, but Cam Hayward did, and Alex Highsmith and a couple other their pass rushers as well. So, he was coming in to this night a little bit banged up, but I still thought that he would have a good performance. But it just wasn't that, right? It wasn't. He didn't read the field well. Like, there were times where guys were open, like Terry, and I got to give credit to the Eagles defense too, because Terry, he only had a catch for 10 yards, right? And there were times where he was open and JD needed to hit him at times, but we got to give credit to the Eagles defense, and Quinyon Mitchell, he did a really good job of guarding Terry. He definitely did. He did a really good job of that. The Eagles defense as a whole, their secondary did a great job of taking our receivers out of the game. And we're going to get to Cliff in a second, but to finish up with Jayden, really, he just didn't look right last night. And I think he's gonna be fine. And I feel like the injury is a good part of that. I know some fans don't want to hear that, but it's true, right? Jayden has not looked the same since suffering the injury. I'm not saying he's looked bad. Like, he had a good game versus the Bears, good game versus the Giants, struggled versus the Steelers. However, he still wasn't bad versus the Steelers. Last night was his first bad performance of the year, right? And even versus the Steelers, he had some misses, but it still wasn't overall like a terrible game or like a bad game. Last night was a bad game from Jayden, and you aren't going to get a performance like that ever again this season, or maybe ever again, like, period, in his career. I still have the utmost confidence in Jalen. I mean, not Jalen, Jayden. Like, Jayden, he's our quarterback. I still have the utmost confidence in him. No confidence has been lost. Like, I've been seeing fans on social media, especially Twitter, saying, oh, Jayden sucks. We should have picked Drake May. Wish Howell was still our quarterback. Jayden's a bust. Like, no. Jayden is going to be fine. We forget that Jayden is still a rookie. Like, Jayden was balling out through the first 9 weeks of the season, and he set that high of kind of a measurement for him, right? Like, he set that high of a floor for him, that high of a ceiling for himself. That kind of made fans forget that he's still a rookie. So when he does have a poor performance like this, they're going to start overreacting. We need to remember that this dude is still a rookie. He was going to have a bad performance like this. He wasn't just going to be perfect, right? It sucks that the bad performance went against a divisional rival, but it came, and it is what it is. It's a learning experience for him, right? He can go back on film, watch what he did wrong, watch what he should have done, and he can correct those mistakes. And he has 10 days to do so. And during that 10-day period, he will obviously watch film and heal up. And everyone on our roster needs to heal up, right? They need to look their, nicks, bruises, all that good stuff. So, and it's kind of crazy to me how fans are saying all this about Jayden after one bad game. After everything he's done for the franchise this season alone, he's turned our entire team around. And yet, after one bad game, fans want to be saying crazy stuff like he sucks. He's not the quarterback for the team. Like, it's crazy, right? But I'm going to ignore that stuff because I still believe in Jayden all the way through, right? I want to get to Cliff next. Cliff was bad last night. Okay, and second half Cliff, look, I'm not going to believe that until we have a bad performance against a team that we should score like 30 points on, right? So next week, for example, versus the Cowboys. That's a team that we should blow out. That's a team that we should score at least 30 points on. And if we don't, then I'll start asking questions about Cliff, right? Because, against the Eagles defense, a super good Eagles defense, Eagles fans have been saying that their defense is really good. At first, I didn't believe it because they were going up against sorry opponents like the Jaguars, the Browns, the Giants. But I'm not going to lie, their defense was really good, right? But still, there were times where Cliff's play calls were just awful. Like, the 2 straight runs with Brian Robinson. The first one, Brian Robinson should have gotten the first down. The second one, I was like, okay, what are we doing here? You just ran it, right? You try to run it again. I don't like that. I would have tried to throw it there, right? And then the 4th and 2, I love DQ's decision to go with that. Like, I know some fans didn't like that. A lot of fans didn't like that, actually. They suggested to just take the points. Look, we're not going to win a football game by 1 point, like by 13-12. Like, that's not happening. Like, we're not winning a football game by kicking only field goals. We needed a touchdown in that situation, and DQ made the right decision to go for it, but the play call was bad. I don't even know what that play call was supposed to be because Jayden bobbled the ball. It looked like a QB design run with Jayden. Like, he was running to the right, and it just got blown up immediately. Like, I don't know what was there. It was bad. And then Cliff, I feel like, had too many long developing routes, man. Like, there was no quick stuff tonight or last night. Like, Terry, he only had a catch for 10 yards. And although Quinyon Mitchell did a good job of guarding Terry, that Eagles secondary did a good job of guarding Terry, there were times where Terry was open and Jayden missed him. And he's your receiver one, man. Like, that's your number one receiver. That's your best weapon on offense. Cliff, you have to get him involved one way or another. You can do, like, you can hit him on slants, curls, short routes. And we just didn't do that last night for some reason, right? We did not see the RPO game at all. I don't know what his play calling was last night, man, but it was awful, right? It was really bad. We got to get back to doing what we've been doing on offense that has made us successful this year on offense. And hopefully we do. Run game, Brian Robinson, 16 carries, 63 yards, a touchdown. Man, it was really good having him back last night, man. On our first scoring drive, you just felt his physical presence, man. I mean, the way he carried us to the 1 yard line, punched it in at the end, it was really nice to have B-Rob back. It really was. Eckler, he had a good night, 8 catches, 89 yards. He was our leading receiver, which is absolutely awful. Like, I love Eckler, but if he's your leading receiver, that's when you know there's a problem, right? So Eckler had a good night, but I don't want to see him leading the team in receiving yards ever again. Unless we win, but we didn't win, so I don't want to see that ever again, right? Zach Ertz, he had a pretty solid night. 6 catches, 47 yards, a touchdown, came late in the game. That 2-point conversion catch was pretty crazy, not going to lie. That was the best catch I've seen from Zach Ertz in a while. Want to touch on the O-line real quick. They were awful last night. Like, our entire offense was awful last night, right? But our O-line was really bad, like, as well. Like, our O-line was really, really bad. I think our best O-lineman was probably Tyler Biadasz. And even him wasn't great. Like, he wasn't terrible, but, you know, our O-line just wasn't it last night. It felt like they weren't really in sync. Brandon Coleman, man, he was getting beat last night. I'm not going to lie. I love Brandon Coleman, but it's time to bring Cornelius Lucas back in, right, at left tackle. He just looks better than Brandon Coleman. He's been looking better than Brandon Coleman. And, you know, versus the Giants, Brandon Coleman did a good job versus them. Although he got a lot of help, he looked good versus the Giants. But these past 2 games against the Eagles and Steelers, he's looked awful. All right, he really has. So, you know, the experiment with Brandon Coleman, it may not be over yet, right? They may try him at left tackle again. They may start him next week against the Cowboys. And maybe for the rest of the year. But I personally want to see Cornelius Lucas back out there, man, because he just looked better out of the 2, right? And then everybody else, Sam Cosmi, he didn't look great last night. Jalen Carter was killing our interior. He was killing Nick Allegretti. Sam Cosmi. Cosmi had an 11.0 pass blocking grade from PFF, which is absolutely awful. So he wasn't great last night. Andrew Wiley, he was whatever, but still wasn't great either. So overall, man, our offense just wasn't great. All right, our O-line wasn't great. Our offense in general just wasn't great. And we need better. Like, we need better, and I expect to get better because the opponents we're going to be playing for the rest of the year are not like Philly. I mean, we're going to be playing the Eagles again, and we're going to be playing the Falcons, but we're also playing the Cowboys twice, the Titans, the Saints. Got to score points on them teams. Now, let's get to the good of the game. And the good of the game was our defense. Our defense, man. Coming into this game, I had low hopes, not going to lie. I didn't have much confidence in this defense being able to stop the Eagles' offense. But for 3 quarters, really 3 quarters and a half, they did that. Frankie Louvu, like I mentioned earlier, demon, 10 total tackles, 2 sacks, 2 TFLs. He's like that. He's him. Jeremy Chin, another great performance. Man, it's awesome to see Jeremy Chin balling out. He had a really good game yesterday. Pretty solid in coverage, really good at tackling. He was really good. Mikey Sanderson, we got our outside cornerback, across from Marshawn Lattimore. When Lattimore comes back, it's got to be Mikey on one side, Lattimore on the other side. Mikey Sanderson was sticky in coverage yesterday. Against A.J. Brown, locked him up. Against Devontae Smith, locked him up. Against Jahan Dotson, Jahan Dotson, he can't do anything against Mikey, man. We knew that. Jahan Dotson ain't none. They went to him on the first play of the game, catch for 8 yards. That's all he did, right? On his second target, he dropped it. And guess who was there to make the play? Mikey Sanderson. Mikey had an amazing game, right? He did a good job of guarding A.J. Brown, who is 6'1", and Mikey is 5'9". Guarding a guy that big, and you're that size, and you did a good job against him, awesome. That pass deflection or pass breakup, On Devontae Smith, amazing. Textbook coverage. Loved what I saw from Mikey Sanderson last night. Bobby Wagner, he looked good. Quan Martin, he looked good. Dante Fowler Jr. didn't do anything last night, really. Interior defensive line, I feel like we did a really good job of getting pressure to Jalen Hurts for 3 quarters. Once we got to the fourth quarter, though, it kind of fell off, and that's because of the offense. Look, the defense is not the reason why we lost this game. Although Saquon Barkley went crazy on us in the fourth quarter, our offense didn't help them out. Like, we were not good on offense at all, of course. We could not move the ball, and the defense had to be out on the field constantly, and they were getting exhausted. They were getting tired, which allowed the Eagles to just run Saquon Barkley on the ground, and he gashed us in the fourth quarter. So, is what it is right there, right? But yeah, Saquon Barkley, he was really good yesterday, but I feel like we did a good job of containing him in 3 quarters. But when the fourth quarter came, everything fell apart, and it's not because of them. It's because of our offense. They were not giving them a break. So, overall, the loss just wasn't great at all. I'm not going to overreact right now. If we do not have a good performance versus the Cowboys next week, because I think we're going to beat the Cowboys, but we have to blow them out. So, yeah, that's really it for the recap. The main thing I took away from this game, the overall takeaway is we're not ready to beat the best of the best. And that's okay. We weren't even expected to be here before the season started. So we're just not able to beat the best of the best. And the Eagles are the best of the best. The Steelers are one of the best teams in the NFL. And we were not able to beat those teams, right? And it's okay, right? Year one, team is fairly young, right? New coaching staff, new everything. It's all right. We're going to learn, right? We're going to improve. The defense has been improving. I've loved the way the defense has improved over the past month and a half, really, man. It's been awesome to see. Offense got to get back on track. I really hope these 10 days help them get back on track. Cliff, Jayden, entire offense got to get rolling again, because if they do and this defense continues to improve, then that would be really good, of course. So that is it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like down below, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Comment down below your thoughts on last night's loss versus Philly. And other than that, it's been Keyshawn, and I'm out.